Hey guys, this video is all about testing out my new hot tent in my backyard. So we're going to be setting up the new hot tent, which is a Megahorn III by Luxe Outfitters. We're going to be putting a guide gear camp stove into it, and we're going to be experimenting with how hot it can get and if I can even cook dinner in that tent. I want to get all of this figured out. I have a camp out plan for about a week and a half from now, and I don't want to be a big failure and burn myself to bits at the campground. Yeah, want to get it all figured out. So it's a beautiful day, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, probably about 6 inches of snow on the ground, but not a cloud in the sky, a little windy, but I really think that this is going to be the perfect day for it. So let's get to it. Finally got the tent up. It's looking pretty good. It's still on an incline, but it's pretty much all I have to work with unless I'm going to put it in my front yard. So here's what she looks like. It is significantly warmer in here already, even with no stove. Again, this part is not very taut. I'm going to try to tighten up those ropes a little bit though and see if I can't get a little bit more tension. But yeah, it's pretty spacious. I can completely stand up in here. I mean, at the peak. It'll get the job done for what I need it to do, which is keep me warm in winter time camping. Lunchtime! Oh yeah. Good, I'm starving. All right, back to work. You can see it's thrashing around a little bit. I want to get that thrash out of it, and then I'm going to put the camp stove in there. All right, I think that's about as good as it's going to get today. All right, well, I have to say that was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. It is really windy out today, and while it is a nice day, sunny, 36, 37 degrees Fahrenheit, the tent itself took off like a sail a few times, and it was quite hilarious. But on my second attempt, I was able to get the tent up. It's ready to go. It's still a little windy and it's not on the most level ground, but it's the best I have to work with, and I really wanted to get this tent up so I know what I'm doing when I set it up the first time I go camping. Now it is time to get this here camp stove into the tent. I need to clean out some old coals from seasoning it. I seasoned it. I had a fire in it a couple of times right here on the porch just to get the just to cure the stove and burn all the paint off and not have that smell in it. That would kill me if I did that in the tent. So that's ready to go. Yeah, and then it's time to chop some wood and get this bad boy going. All right, let's do this. These were just inside, but I'm gonna hang one in the tent and one outside so I can try to get an idea of exactly how warm this hot tent is getting. Right here. We got the stove into the tent and it is significantly warmer already. Taking a look at the thermometer, it's saying it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit in here, which I believe. I am not wearing, I'm not wearing a jacket right now because it's really nice in here. First time setting everything up. Always a learning curve, but I think I did an okay job, and I know next time I set it up, it's gonna be even easier. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go and process some wood now and get that all piled up, and then later this evening, we're gonna get this fire started. This bad boy is saying we're at like 25 inside the tent. I'm not crazy about these thermometers. They seem to be reading the exact same temperature, but it might just be because it is the same. I feel like it was a lot warmer inside the tent yesterday, but it could have just been from the sun and not really affected like the ambient temperature of the air. Okie dokie, we made it out into the tent. I have got a bunch of wood that is ready to go in lots of different sizes, and I'm gonna fire up this camp stove. This is the first time I've ever used a camp stove in a tent, but I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it's gonna be that big of a deal. Not going to be that much of a difference from just regular camping, besides, you know, trying not to burn myself alive. The tent's stove jack seems pretty good, and I've got a fireproof mat that I can use as well. Maybe rig it up behind the stove if that becomes an issue. And it is significantly less windy today. I'm gonna try to keep it to a medium-sized fire and just get it up to temperature. And then we're gonna attempt to cook some chicken fajitas on it and see how that turns out. So I'm gonna get this fire started and hopefully I don't die. Okay, cool. It is 16 degrees out right now, but as you can see, I have my coat off and I am not cold. So just being inside the tent itself obviously is going to be blocking some of the wind. So that's nice. Everybody has their own style of building a fire. I usually do like a log cabin. Seems to work pretty well. All right, another thing that I have, I like to use different fire starters. Sometimes I'll use, you know, just a little, like, kind of like a Duraflame, but just a small version of that. Or I've got these little, like, woolly, they're like pieces of wood covered in paraffin wax. I have some more of those coming, I love those. But these are some fire starters. I'll link them in the description. I've used them the past 2 times on this stove and they work really well. They're just basically like a packet of paraffin, and it burns for like 10 to 15 minutes, I think it says. Maybe it's 8 to 10 minutes. Whatever, it gets the party started, and you only need one of them. They're non-toxic, waterproof, 30-year shelf life. So I know there's some people out there that, you know, are strict you know, flint and steel kind of people, which I would love to get to, but for today with this test, I'm just going to be using a lighter and a fire starter, and I don't think that makes it any less of a fire, because the end result is still a fire, which is what we want because it's cold. So here is what they look like. They just look like a little bag of wax, which is what they are, but it works. All right, so far so good. Water goes on top. I feel like, yeah, that's just water evaporation coming off there. All right, I gotta keep feeding it. You can see that one fire starter, I just used one of those little packets, and the fire is just on point. I used 4 pieces of paper. And I'm gonna dry this. See how quick that got hot? Just wanna get that snow off of it. This thing definitely kicks. It is, it's a lot warmer. I'm gonna keep feeding it and see how hot we can get it in here. Okay, so you know how I thought the thermometers weren't working? They definitely are. It's super hot in here. Look at this. It's up to almost 80 degrees right there. So that's great. Whew. So far, so good. No burning, no death. I'm going to go and grab my frying pan and get everything set up for cooking these chicken fajitas. All right, it is cooking time. It is 80 degrees in the tent, and I had to open one of the doors because I'm super hot. And yeah, it's awesome. Very happy with how this is turning out. So for today's meal, we are going to be cooking chicken fajitas. It's super, super easy. You've got your various colors of bell pepper. I like to use orange, yellow, and red. And then you have several yellow onions. I'm using 4 yellow onions in this recipe because I want more peppers and onions in the final mix. I think I'm using like 6 peppers. And then chicken breast. You can also use chicken thigh. chicken wing, chicken anything. I just use breast because it's easier, and just cut that down into strips. So let's get all this meal prepped first, and then we're gonna cook it on this camp stove. I'm going to use a cast iron pan. It's bigger than the one that's in my camp kitchen box. That video I'll link above of everything that's in my camp kitchen box, but it's the one that we use in our house, and I usually cook all the chicken fajitas in that, and it is, camp stove is big enough to accommodate that size pan, so I'm gonna do it. Got my camp kitchen box over here, got my food prep here, got my stove here. Great. Let's get all of this stuff prepped. I just like to cut them into nice thin strips. For the onions, I just like to cut them into strips. So here is everything we are going to be using for the chicken fajitas. We've got the peppers and onions all cut up and ready to go. We've got chicken. We've got some butter. I use Kerrygold. We've got a couple of seasoning packets that I found to be really good. These Simply Organic. One is Southwest Taco, one is Fajita. A little bit of avocado oil and some salt and pepper. All right, so we are going to let the pan heat up a little bit. We're gonna put some fire into this here camp stove. Firewood, I should say. I like to start in the pan already is going to be some bacon grease from today's breakfast. I drained most of it out, but I left a little bit just for some flavor. I'm gonna add some avocado oil. And then for some more flavor, I'm gonna add some butter. You don't have to add butter if you don't want to, but I just think butter makes everything taste better. Let's give that a good. This is just a little bit too big for this camp stove, but I think it's gonna do the job. So I like to start with the onions and the peppers first and get those all cooked down. It's a massive amount of peppers and onions, so I'm just gonna get those thrown in, cook them down, and then we're gonna put them in a bowl and leave them aside, and then we're gonna cook the chicken. Then we're going to mix everything, add the spices, and then just let it cook some more, and then it's done. Super easy. there's a little bit of a hot spot right over here. So I'm just trying to rotate and move everything around. Oh man, I have to say this is really, really nice. I am enjoying the hot tent. It is nice and toasty in here. It is 16 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and it's a cozy at least 75 or 80 in here. Let me check the little thermometer over here. It's showing that we're at almost 90 degrees, but that's, you know, in the middle of the tent. You take a look over there, you know, the stove is right there. So it's catching a lot of that heat. But right where I'm sitting, I don't know, I feel like it's a comfortable 80. It's very nice to be sitting outside in the winter time, 80 degrees, and cook on the outside. So this is going to be great. Next weekend, I've reserved a campsite at a campground. It is right down the street from my house. I didn't even realize it was a campground until I was looking for something near me and discovered it. So they are open for winter camping Wednesdays through Sundays. And I thought it would be a good idea to, after testing this in my backyard, try it at a campground. So I reserved 2 days over there. I think I'm burning my food. Nah, we're good, we're good. Reserved 2 days over there, and hopefully we can get a little bit of snow and see if this thing stands up with some weather. So far, so good. I mean, the reviews on this tent have been pretty great. It is a little small, but you know, there's nothing we can really do about that. As far as sleeping goes, I know we could fit 2 people in here, but I'm definitely going to have to pare down my kitchen box. This kitchen box that we use right here, this box is for like when we're gonna be tent camping at a campground for like a week, like we did earlier this year at Yellowstone. And it's fine if you're going to have a vehicle with you and you don't, you know, weight isn't a concern. But my goal for this tent and for hot tent camping in general is going to be to get back to places where there aren't a ton of people. So I need to just have, obviously, a backpack that's going to have everything I need for cooking. I'm not going to be bringing a ginormous cast iron pan. I'm not going to be bringing all of this stuff that's in this camp box if it's just going to be me and maybe Goran camping out in the wilderness. I also can't take this giant table here, or the chair that I'm sitting in. It's way too big. It takes up way too much room. I'm gonna have to get something a little bit more portable, which is fine. I mean, that's you know, it's a learning curve. You just have to get the gear that's gonna fit your needs and what you're most comfortable with. I have got to let this cast iron pan cool off a little bit, because it was just, there's no temperature control, you know, on this camp stove. And when I put the chicken in, I don't want it to just immediately burn, because that wouldn't be good. But all of the vegetables are done. Next goes in the chicken. Crispy in there. the way the snow is melting. That looks like a lot, it is. But there's a reason for that, and that's because I really wanted a lot of peppers and onions with my fajitas this time. What I do is I meal prep this, and I eat this for lunch with lettuce wraps. But man, these fajitas are the jam. So the way I eat them is with 2 big pieces of butter lettuce, and I put sour cream right onto the lettuce and a little bit of Cholula hot sauce, and then I pile up some fajita in there, not too much, you don't want it to break the lettuce, and then I cover it with red onion, roll it up, eat 2 or 3 of those, sometimes 4 if I'm starving. And this batch, if it was just me eating it, this would last over a week. This would last probably almost 2 weeks, but with Goran and my niece over, they'll have some too. And it is delicious. It is considered keto. If you do the lettuce wraps, you could consider this paleo. I consider it delicious. All right, so let's get this seasoning in. This first one is a Southwest taco seasoning by Simply Organic. Let's get this at any grocery store. And fajita seasoning mix. I'm assuming they're pretty similar. I can read all of the ingredients on the back, and they're all gluten-free, which is something that I'm looking for. To put the first packet on, I'm just gonna kind of get that mixed in, and then I'll put the second one in. And then I'm gonna taste it, and if the 2 packs aren't enough for this much, I'll run inside and get a third. All right, it is time to give this chicken fajitas a try. No. I got them dripping all over my thumb. That's really good. I'm gonna let this cook up a little bit more, add a little bit more spices to it, and then take it off the fire. And my mission is accomplished for the day. Well, it took 2 days, but who's counting? So we set up the tent. Took a little bit because it was windy yesterday, but that went well. Got that up. Got the camp stove into the tent. Got a fire going in it. Well, we had to split a bunch of wood. Got the fire going and cooked a meal. So those were all of the things that I wanted to test out before I take this tent on a camp out. So I call this a success. I have a little bit of tweaking to do as far as what gear will fit in here with me. But I mean, I don't know. It'll be good to get it out into the field. That's all I have to say about that. But this was super fun. We got it up to almost 90 degrees in here. Right now I'm saying I've got the door cracked a little bit because it was so hot in here. I think it's probably like 60, maybe 70 degrees in here now. I burnt my arm, but I got a lot more experience to feel confident when I take this out into the field. So with that, I think we're gonna end it there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you will know whenever we release a new video. Definitely going to have some videos for next week's camp out. And we would love to have you come along. If you liked any of the things that I used in the video, like that salt and pepper shaker, I absolutely love them. I'll link them below in the description. These are affiliate links from Amazon, so I do earn a little bit of money when you purchase something through the link, but that helps me to keep creating these videos for you. And I really hope you enjoy them. Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of figure out what the next meal I'm going to cook in this tent is going to be. I may even cook another one this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. All right. Bye.